All right. Hot topic of the day is those darn tariffs that Trump decided to push. Did a lot of debating, researching, and learning today. Oh, hi. Little puppy here. Hey, what's up? You coming over here, Nisha? So here's some interesting things. All right. So first off, first argument, tax the rich. Okay, cool. Well, that hasn't worked very well. A lot of rich people don't pay any taxes. There's a lot of loopholes. There's this, there's that. There's a thousand ways to do it. It doesn't work. Now, I've been for probably about 8 years, I've been a big proponent of getting rid of income tax and turning into a sales tax. Reason being, so Texas does this with their property tax. So there's different ways that you can tax the rich more than the poor. But of course, they all have caveats and they all have cons. So Texas has high property taxes, right? Compared to Colorado, who has lower property taxes. So basically, they determined, hey, we'll make money off people that can afford a home. Great. Awesome. Okay. So people that can afford a home typically have more money than people who can't. All right. Logic makes sense. But now it makes it more difficult for people to get into homes. So maybe they have a program where your first house, or if you're the primary resident of the house, you have a lower tax rate. I don't know. That's an option. I have always, for the last like 8 years, said there should be a national sales tax. Sales tax is a way a lot of municipalities make their money, cities and states, counties, whatever it is, they make their money off sales tax. And now here's the cool thing. If you're broke and you make 30,000 a year, the most you can spend really is 30,000 a year, unless some credit card company gives you lines of credit larger than that. But let's just make this a simple example. And if you're rich as hell and you make 1 million a year, the most you can spend is 1 million a year. Most rich people won't spend all their money. They pretty much invest all of it because they have that option. So to get rid of that, rich people will typically spend more than 30,000 a year, right? If you're making 1 million a year, your expenses are who the hell knows what, but probably more than that. So now if you're buying more shit, spending more money, getting more services, getting more haircuts and your nails done, and you know, buying premium gas and more expensive cars, all that stuff, your consumption, your amount you're spending each month is higher the higher income you get typically. So you put a sales tax, the people that pay the highest tax are the people that spend the most money. Now here's the problem with that is now it's a, well, I guess it's kind of a two-edged sword. So the higher sales tax, if it's say, if sales tax went up to like 50%, oh my gosh, people would stop spending. They would really think twice. Do I really need this item? And most people would just be buying what they need, food, and utilities, that kind of stuff. The discretionary income would almost disappear for many people. So putting a sales tax up that high is silly. But if you replace an income tax, whereas right now an income tax, people making 50 to 80,000 a year are paying, who knows, 20,000 a year in taxes. People making 500,000 have the money to pay CPAs and tax experts to make their income all represent this and that in order to not pay that much money. It's very easy for a $500,000 a year earner to pay almost nothing in taxes, and we see it all the time. We see it with the billionaires. We see it with Amazon, Bezos, Gates. All the billionaires pay very little in taxes because they know how to orchestrate their financial instruments in order to not have that. So here's one big thing about the rich. If you know Elon Musk, he only gets paid $1 a year. That is his salary. So he gets taxed on $1 a year. So he's getting taxed less than the person that only makes 5,000 a year, because the person making 5,000 probably is actually, paying a little bit of taxes, whereas Elon pays like 10 cents of taxes. Now, Elon gets paid in stock, and almost all the really high level CEOs, et cetera, get paid in this because when you are given stock to you, there's no taxes on it. So Elon is given, say, 1 million shares of Tesla stock or SpaceX, whatever it is. Let's say he gets 1 million shares. That's his salary for the year. There's no taxes on it. He only gets taxed when he sells that and gets capital gains and actually makes money off that stock. But here's the trick that the rich don't tell, or do tell. Maybe you just don't know it. They never sell it. His stock doesn't ever get sold unless he's like buying Twitter or something. But for years, he never sold his stock. and he took out loans against it or sold tiny bits so that he could live off of. But his net worth, he never sold it every year to get his money because every time you sell, you pay taxes. But if you take out a loan against it, you don't pay taxes. So if you need a car, hey, I need a $50,000 loan. Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, look, I have 500 million shares of Tesla. Here, I'll sign those as collateral. Oh, okay, cool. And now he's just selling enough stock to pay the payment on that car or selling enough stock to pay that 50,000. He's not selling his billions of dollars of assets. So this is super common. People do this all the time. Take loans against stock portfolios, take loans against your house, right? The BRR method. You buy a house, you renovate it, you rent it, you remodel it, why am I being so bad at this? You refinance it, take cash out, and now that cash you can go somewhere else and go buy another house. And so this method's called the buy, borrow, die. Buy an asset, watch it appreciate, take a loan out against it, and never sell it so you never pay taxes on it. So we're talking about tax the rich, tax the rich. Well, the rich, they've found out how to get away and they don't make any money. Elon's salary is like $1 a year. How are we going to keep taxing that? Okay, well, let's tax his stock account. Well, what happens when his stock account goes down? And I mean, there was talk last administration about taxing anyone that has a stock account over like $250,000 or $400,000, something like that. And then, well, now you're taxing people on money they don't have because now you're going to force them to sell those stocks in order to pay the taxes. And now those stocks are gone and they never wanted to. So you're forcing people on how to invest. Changes everything and definitely can affect the entire stock market and economy. So now let's go back to these tariffs. So the tariffs are essentially a way for the government to make money, right? Let's just go on Trump's ideology. He's like, government gonna make money. We're gonna get tariffs and make a lot of money and get the deficit. Yada yada. Honestly, I think he's not doing it for that. I think Trump is doing it for leverage. He's trying to reduce trade deficits, but I think he's trying to do it for more power and other things. We'll find out. That's going to be a bad issue if that is what he does, which I think is what he's doing. If he's going to do tariffs and they're short term, it's going to fuck us all over. If he does tariffs in the long term, he needs to pick industries that we actually could excel at, that we just need a little help. And I don't think that that process is less than 3-4 years. You know, maybe it takes a month to analyze an industry and see if it's going to be effective for us. Maybe 2 weeks, depending on how good your economists are. But tariffs are basically what I've been arguing for years, somewhat like a sales tax. Let's break it down. A tariff is where money comes in for a good and goes to the government. Okay, cool. Government's making more money. That cost is passed on to the consumers. So now the consumers are paying more money for goods. And what the fuck is a sales tax? A way for consumers to pay more for goods that actually the rich pay more in taxes because they consume more than poor. Poor people consume this much. You know, $30,000 salary, they consume maybe $25,000 in goods. People that make 500,000 consume 200,000 in goods. So the rich pay more. If there was a national sales tax, they would be paying more in tax. It'd be a way to tax the rich without this crazy income tax loophole bracket crazy thing that we currently have now with 500,000 IRS agents trying to force us all to pay it. With sales tax, it'd be much simpler. Hey, you buy this good, here's the cost, and now you're paying the sales tax. So in essence, these tariffs are basically making us pay more money, like a sales tax, whereas people that consume more goods or consume foreign goods or exotic goods, rich people, are going to be paying more than poor people. So in one way, you can think about these tariffs as a way to tax the rich. Hope today's the best day of your life. Until tomorrow.